and strange figures appear on camera.
Papi?
Stay tuned for the most unbelievable CCTV captures that will leave you shocked. This home CCTV captured a chilling scene that started like any other day. The husband was preparing food while his wife watched, when suddenly chairs toppled to the floor and doors slammed shut on their own. Objects began crashing around the room, one after another, as if an invisible force had taken over. The footage cut off abruptly, leaving everything unresolved. Crawling children. A leaked video surfaced on the dark web, and it quickly spread online. In the footage, a family sat together after dinner when one daughter suddenly began crawling in a strange, unnatural way, as if something had taken control of her body. Moments later, another daughter also started behaving in a disturbing way. The father reportedly ran from the room in panic. Online theories claim the children had been given a task linked to dark rituals, and their behavior was a result of that. The dark web has long been linked to disturbing activities, and this video is now being shared as one of its most unsettling clips. Evil presence. Grief can make people do things they never imagined. A daughter, missing her father, set up a ritual to call his spirit back. As she performed the ritual, she suddenly felt a presence behind her and froze. Slowly, she turned the camera, and there he was, her father, sitting on the chair, but his eyes were hollow, and a strange, unnatural smile spread across his face. The appearance made me realize she made the wrong move. He wasn't her father, but something evil wearing his form. She immediately stopped the ritual and ended the recording. Letting go was the only way to stay safe for her. Crawling woman. A woman noticed someone standing outside her house late at night. She was dressed in white and stood completely still near the door. Thinking it might be a patient who had escaped from a nearby asylum earlier that morning, she stepped closer to check. But before she could speak, the woman suddenly twisted her body in a way no human could move. She dropped to the ground and began crawling like a spider. Every movement felt controlled and aware. Terrified, the homeowner stopped recording and left. After this incident, the town labeled her as a possessed woman, but she was never seen again. Ouija horror. Four girls gathered around an Ouija board, trying to properly end their session. They slowly moved the cup in circles, following the ritual to close it. Then, just as they were about to finish, one girl suddenly froze. Her hands stopped moving. Her eyes shifted strangely. It looked like something had taken control of the girl. She began to tremble, unable to speak. The others quickly began calling her name out loud, trying to bring her back. Until she finally did. What was surprising was the fact that the girl did not remember anything about being under the influence.
Like a little bird. Bethard. Are you kidding me? Oh my god.
Levitating girl. Late one night, the living room CCTV recorded a moment that quickly turned unsettling. A girl slept on the sofa while her dog watched silently nearby. Suddenly, the dog began barking at something unseen. Within seconds, the girl's body lifted slightly into the air, and the very next moment, she was on the floor. She woke up confused and frightened, trying to understand what had just happened. There was no one else in the room. Therefore, it felt as if some invisible force had pulled her, leaving her house to be haunted forever.
Oh my god! What was that?
Shadow face. A security camera captured a truly creepy moment in night vision. A person was climbing a dark staircase, disappearing briefly from view. Then, a pale, wide-eyed face slowly emerged from the shadows beneath the steps. It lingered there, as if a demonic presence had been following all along, waiting for the right moment. What happened next to the person remains unknown, and whether she escaped unharmed is still a mystery. Ritual disappearance. This is the most horrifying case the neighborhood has ever seen. The town's most famous and wealthy girl was sleeping when something suddenly pulled her by the leg. She was taken and never seen again. Police searched everywhere but found no clues. Neighbors revealed the truth, which made the case even more terrifying. The girl had been involved in dark rituals, and some believe she may have sold her soul. Invisible grab. A girl entered a house to deliver an order. On her way back, something invisible grabbed her shirt. Terrified, she stepped back and left immediately. The video ended there, but she later revealed the house had never been haunted before. After she left the food behind, everything returned to normal. In some cultures, jinn are drawn to meat and can interact in ways we cannot see. Not everyone is lucky enough to avoid their attention. This girl barely escaped a frightening encounter. Phantom Child. On the 17th of October, 1996, in the quiet town of Ravens Hollow, Michigan, an 8-year-old girl was seen sitting in her bedroom at around 2 a.m., whispering softly to someone. Her father, hearing faint voices through the door, stepped inside. To his shock, he saw another child sitting directly in front of his daughter, but as he moved closer, no one was there. She was alone, sitting stiffly, eyes wide open, completely shocked. She did not respond when he called her name. The night eventually passed, but something had changed. After that night, she was never quite the same again. Creepy presence.
No, amigo, ¿qué mierda es eso, boludo?
A man was home alone when he woke up to a strange noise inside the house. He followed the sound and saw a dark shadow figure standing in the kitchen, staring straight at him. When he rushed closer, it suddenly disappeared. Moments later, things around the house began moving and falling on their own. Feeling uneasy, he pulled back the curtains to check outside and saw the same shadow again, standing right behind him, in the reflection. He turned around immediately, but no one was there. So what could it be? A shadow person? A spirit? Or something even stranger?
No, amigo, no.
Tuyul sighting.
Niño.
A boy was playing a video game on his PC late at night. After stepping out of his room briefly, he returned and saw what looked like a small child standing in front of his computer, staring at him. As he slowly moved closer, the figure suddenly vanished. There were no open windows, no hiding places, nothing that could explain what he saw. It could have been a Tuyul, the small spirit-like being from folklore said to appear in child form. Bathroom bangs. A man accepted his friend's dare to spend one night inside an abandoned house. At first, everything seemed calm. The silence was heavy, but nothing unusual happened. Then suddenly, a loud banging sound came from the bathroom, as if someone inside was forcefully pushing the door. From where he stood, he thought he saw a blurry face, briefly peeking out. He rushed forward and let the door open. Instantly, everything went silent. The room was empty. The banging stopped. No one was there. Terrified, he ran out of the house as fast as he could, convinced that some dark entity was there. Cabinet face. On the very first night, in his newly rented apartment, a man experienced something he would never forget. While trying to settle in, he heard a sharp knocking sound coming from the kitchen. Following the noise, he found it was coming from an open cabinet. When he looked inside, it was completely empty. As he stepped back, a pale, creepy face suddenly peeked out from the cabinet for a second, before disappearing. That was enough. He didn't stay there anymore. The dark presence there seemed to already claim the apartment as its own. Ghostly voice. A boy was resting in his room one night when a sudden, eerie voice shattered the calm. It sounded like a ghostly girl calling out from the road outside. When he looked, no one was there, but the voice kept coming. This wasn't a one-time event. The haunting continued almost every night. Eventually, the boy had no choice but to leave the house. Vanishing child. A man returned to his old house after it had been abandoned for nearly 10 years. As soon as he stepped inside, he heard something that froze him, a baby's laughter echoing through the empty rooms. He followed the sound into the kitchen. There, inside the sink, stood a child, staring at him without blinking. As he slowly moved closer, the child suddenly sat down and vanished. The sight clarified that the house had not simply been empty all these years. Something else had been living there. Wall walker. You won't believe what the camera captured at a veterinary clinic in California. The footage shows a man quickly passing through a solid wall. Then, in an instant, he stepped out from the same wall and disappeared completely, as if he was never there. Moments later, a dog ran out from the same room, clearly terrified. It felt as if the dog had also seen the darting figure. The veterinarian confirmed that no one had entered the room, and the only thing felt was a sudden rush of air. Sleep demon.
Tonight I'll be recording myself while I sleep.
This is a classic case, one of the scariest ever caught on tape. A man kept experiencing terrifying moments he thought were real, but his family dismissed them as dreams. He decided to record, and while in a deep sleep, a tall figure in a black hoodie appeared, standing silently near his bed. The next day, when 911 was called, authorities suspected a break-in, but all locks were intact. Those who saw it say it was a sleep paralysis demon, trapping him between dreams and reality.
Keep all the doors and windows locked tonight. I'm gonna hang around the neighborhood and keep an eye on the house.
Guest haunting.
What is that?
A tourist checked into a guest house for the night, hoping for a peaceful stay. But late at night, strange things began happening. The lights flickered on and off on their own. When he went to investigate, he caught a dark figure peeking at him. He tried to follow it, but the figure vanished without a trace, leaving him terrified of what he had just seen.
Who are you? I'm not gonna hurt you.
Haunted dance. This TikToker was just recording a dance video inside her house, completely unaware of what was happening behind her. The room looked normal. Nothing seemed out of place. But then a dark, shadowy figure quietly passed in the background, moving from one side of the room to the other. It did not look like a trick of light. Those who saw the video said it could be a trapped spirit inside the house. It felt like undeniable proof of something paranormal. Possessed child. A mother heard strange voices coming from her daughter's room late at night. At first, she thought her child was playing. When she stepped inside, she saw her daughter sitting on the floor, entirely covered under the bedsheet. When she pulled the bedsheet, the mother realized that her daughter had been possessed. Her daughter's eyes had turned completely white, and her face looked pale and lifeless. It did not look like her child anymore, but an evil entity possessed her. The family later called a priest, and after prayers, the presence finally left the girl's body. Haunted fridge. A man returned home after a vacation, but soon, strange things began happening. Objects disappeared and then reappeared in odd places. He set up cameras to catch what was going on. One night, while getting food from the fridge, the door suddenly hit him, though no one was near. That moment was the breaking point for him. In frustration, he slammed the fridge shut, realizing something unseen was deliberately disturbing him. A week later, he moved out, knowing the house now has its new owner. Trapped man. This time, a CCTV camera captured more than just a normal moment. A man was trying to leave the house when his body suddenly twisted and he began to collapse to the ground. He struggled to open the door, but it didn't work. It wasn't locked, just unresponsive. He later revealed that he wasn't sick and had no medical issues. Yet every time he tried to visit a priest, the entity inside him resisted. The house itself seemed to trap him, and the presence controlling him refused to let him leave. Cursed cards. CCTV footage captured a frightening moment, showing why children should never be left alone at home. The kids were playing with cards they got from an antique shop. At first, everything seemed normal, but when one child pulled a card, she was suddenly dragged by an invisible force. In just a second, she was out of frame. Realizing things had turned dark, the girls locked themselves in a room. But just then, the girl crawled toward the door, and they didn't open it, afraid the dark entity would take them too. It was clear the cards were cursed, and only after returning them did the girl return to normal. Grave spirits. A mother was sleeping with her child when, out of nowhere, an invisible force pulled her across the bed. She woke up in terror, but no one was there. Later, she discovered the unsettling truth: the house was built on an old cemetery. The graves were long gone, but the spirits had never left. Anyone who dared live there found themselves at the mercy of these restless forces. Possessed housemate. Night after night, a girl kept seeing her housemate roaming around the house while asleep. Worried, she set up CCTV cameras around the house, and the footage revealed something terrifying. At first, the girl opened the fridge, and items fell normal sleepwalking behavior. But then a glass appeared on the countertop out of nowhere and shattered. Things didn't end there. She crawled up the stairs instead of walking, and the rug moved on its own. Later, when she came back to the room, the painting just fell. All these signs showed she was not alone. An evil presence had been with her all this time. How long it had been happening, or when it would end, is unknown, but it terrified her friend. Spirit orbs. A family gathered to light a candle for the birthday of their late brother, hoping to honor his memory. As they focused on the flame, orbs suddenly appeared in the background of the video, moving on their own and vanishing without a trace. The family froze, unsure what they were seeing. Moments later, an object on the table, his favorite, slipped and fell. The movement of the orbs and the falling object seemed connected, as if their brother's spirit was making his presence known. For the family, it was an emotional, unforgettable moment that confirmed he was still near. Green figure. A man decided to test his Kinect camera one night, recording himself while he slept. At first, Everything seemed normal. He lay under the covers as the device mapped his body in blue outlines. Hours passed quietly until something chilling appeared. A second, tall green outline slowly formed beside his bed. It was upright and human-shaped, even though no one else was in the room. The camera reacted as if it detected a real body. The figure leaned closer while he slept. After watching the footage once, he never used the camera again. Final moment. A couple was relaxing near the pool when the man suddenly began acting strangely, staring upward as if seeing something unseen. His wife tried to help, but he didn't respond. Seconds later, he collapsed to the ground. What came out was terrifying. He wasn't possessed, he passed away. The CCTV captured the chilling moment, showing the instant his soul seemed to leave his body. What he was seeing above remains unknown, though some believe it was the Grim Reaper. Haunted curtain. A lady bought a house at a low price to celebrate Christmas, but it soon became clear why the deal was too good to be true. While setting up the room, she closed the curtain, but as soon as she left, they opened again, even though the windows were shut and there was no wind. Thinking she had simply forgotten to close them, she tried again, but the same thing happened. Reviewing the footage, she was shocked to see a strange light appear after the curtains opened. Locals later revealed the family who lived there had passed tragically, and the house was haunted. She left immediately, but the house waits for a new tenant. Living doll. A man bought a lifelike doll from Amazon, so realistic it looked like a real woman. One night, strange voices came from the cupboard where it stood. Recording with his phone, he saw the doll move its head and clearly say, "Wanted to hit him." Terrified, he stopped the footage. The doll had brought a dark presence into the house, something he could no longer keep inside. Would you dare own it? I wouldn't. Unseen force. A woman finished making dinner and stepped out of the kitchen when something terrifying happened. Her hair was suddenly pulled backward, as if an unseen hand grabbed it, dragging her to the ground. She struggled to get free, but nothing visible was there. The CCTV footage showed her fall, yet no person appeared in the frame. Was it a prank, or was an evil entity really at play? Let me know your take on it. Birthday mystery. A Reddit video went viral showing a birthday celebration that took a mysterious turn. The family gathered around the cake as the birthday girl leaned in to blow out a candle. In an instant, every candle went out before anyone could react. At first, they thought her brother had done it, but everyone in the room was clueless. No fans were on, no windows were open, and nothing could explain it. Some say a ghost may have been playing a trick that night. That birthday is now remembered not for the cake or presents, but for the strange, unexplained blow that came from nowhere. Ghost toy. A man was working on his laptop while his dog sat quietly beside him when he suddenly heard a strange noise. He looked around, trying to locate it. At first, he thought it was coming from the TV, but that wasn't it. To his shock, the sound was coming from his dog's old toy, the same one he had buried along with the dog when it passed away. Hearing it again gave him goosebumps. It felt as if it had returned to say a final goodbye to its owner and companion. The moment was haunting, yet deeply emotional. Birthday haunting. A girl was celebrating her mother's birthday late at night, and everything was being recorded to capture the happy memories. The real shock came later when they watched the footage. Behind the mother, a scary, ghostly face suddenly appeared for a few seconds. No one noticed it during the celebration. The sight left the family terrified. They began to believe they were not alone in their home, and that a dark entity might be living with them. The video felt like undeniable proof. Stare hand. A girl was alone in her new house, recording a vlog late at night. While talking to the camera, she suddenly noticed something behind her. On the stairs, a strange hand slowly appeared. She quickly turned around and went to check, but no one was there. There was no way anyone could have entered from the roof. Later, she learned that years ago, a demonic entity haunted the house. They claimed it was removed, but now, it seems the same dark presence may have returned. Prayer, chaos.
Away from my house.
A man living alone in what many believed was a haunted house suddenly dropped to his knees, begging Jesus to protect him from the presence he felt watching from the darkness. Almost instantly, the house seemed to respond. Objects hurled across the room, crashing into walls as if an unseen force had been provoked. The lights flickered wildly, and the once quiet space turned into chaos. Whatever was there did not retreat. It reacted with force. The man quickly left the house. Was it a demon angered by prayer, a jinn disturbed by holy words, or something far more unknown? Basement shadow. Late at night, a CCTV camera inside the house captured something unsettling. Everyone in the home was asleep when a flash of light suddenly appeared on the stairs side. Moments later, a shadowy figure seemed to rise slowly from the basement. It paused briefly, then vanished without a trace. The residents insisted it was not a camera glitch, as no one had entered through the gate or doors at that time. The unexplained appearance left them shaken. Could an unknown entity have been inside the house that night? Empty echoes. A man captured strange, extremely loud noises on his home security camera. What makes it even more unsettling is that no one was home at the time. When he reviewed the footage, the sounds echoed through empty rooms with no visible source. The unexplained audio quickly sparked debate online. Some believe it could be a restless spirit, while others suggest a darker presence lurking unseen.
Get out of here!
Poltergeist activity. CCTV footage captured a series of unusual events inside a house. A dark shadow was seen moving around, while strange humming and faint bell-like sounds echoed through the kitchen. At one point, a cross on the wall appeared turned upside down. Suddenly, the refrigerator door opened and closed on its own, repeating the motion several times. Moments later, a chair crashed onto the floor, and others slowly slid backward, as if pushed by an invisible force. The disturbing sequence has led some to believe a poltergeist may have been behind the activity, making its presence known in a physical and unsettling way. Paranormal sights. Another creepy video was shared online. Disturbing activities inside a room. A clock hanging on the wall suddenly had its hands spinning wildly before it fell to the floor. Moments later, a wardrobe drawer slowly opened on its own, and clothes floated briefly in the air before dropping to the ground. The eerie events escalated when a painting appeared to drip red liquid. Watching the footage, the residents were terrified and left the house immediately, abandoning it to whatever entity was behind the horrifying occurrences. Speedy figure. A grandmother was celebrating her birthday with her family, sitting at the table while everyone sang and filmed the moment. Everything seemed perfectly normal at the time. But later, when the family reviewed the video, they noticed something chilling. A small figure suddenly ran past at incredible speed and vanished without a trace. The family was left shaken, and viewers of the footage remained puzzled, unable to explain what the figure was. Claimed house. A TikToker posted a video claiming his new house was haunted or even cursed. After experiencing strange and unexplained activity, he decided to record everything on his phone. He waited in silence. Suddenly, a dark figure slowly peeked from around the corner, watching him. He rushed to the spot to check, but no one was there. Some places are already claimed by unseen forces, and disturbing them may come with consequences.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Rooftop watcher. On 13 September 2022, children were sleeping on a rooftop when a board nearby suddenly fell with a loud noise. The kids got scared and ran away. When the parents checked the CCTV footage, they saw something even more disturbing. A dark figure was standing on a nearby roof, watching the children. From far away, it seemed like the figure made the board fall to scare them. The video left everyone wondering who or what was watching the kids that night. Dark shadow. On 17 November 2015, CCTV from an office captured a scary moment. A worker was leaving after a late shift when a dark shadow suddenly appeared. It grabbed him by the neck, pulled him to the floor, and even kicked him. Somehow he managed to escape, but the shadowy entity looked furious, like he had disturbed it. It seemed clear that this angry entity was not going to let him go easily. Kitchen chaos. A woman began noticing strange events in her kitchen every night. She set up her mobile camera to record and was shocked by what it captured. Cabinets and drawers opened and closed on their own, crockery flew through the air, and everything was thrown into chaos. Even the camera was knocked down after a few minutes. The brief footage that survived showed clear signs of an unseen entity inside the kitchen. Abandoned office.
I was staring at my ceiling right at work, and then I see this light right, and I go over here.
A girl went to the upper closed-off section of an office and noticed a strange gap in the ceiling. While recording, she saw a creepy, ghostly figure quietly peeking at her. Later, staff revealed that this part of the office had been abandoned for years due to repeated, mischievous, and unexplained activities. This brief footage only added to the office's haunted reputation, confirming that the abandoned section still held its dark and unexplained secrets.
What is that?
Haunted wardrobe.
Hey guys, so someone commented in one of my videos, like the bronzer highlighter I use, and I use the Milani 05 Soleil. So I'm gonna try that on. And
An influencer was recording a makeup tutorial when something disturbing happened. While she was focused on applying her makeup, the wardrobe behind her slowly opened and then suddenly slammed shut with force. As she walked toward it, the lights in the room began flickering on and off. Even the light inside the wardrobe switched off by itself. Terrified, she ran out of the house. Later, neighbors revealed a chilling detail. Years ago, a young girl had lost her life in that very home. Some believe her restless spirit never found peace and may still be there.
no.
Cabinet force. A surveillance camera inside a kitchen recorded creepy sights at different times. Late at night, the cabinet doors began opening and slamming shut repeatedly. There was no wind, no visible cause, yet the movement was forceful and deliberate. The next morning, the situation escalated. Items from inside the cabinet were suddenly thrown onto the floor. One object struck a framed mirror, shattering the glass. After reviewing the footage, it looked like an unseen force made its presence known. Curtain face. A paranormal investigator entered an abandoned building alone, determined to find out whether the haunting rumors were true. When he stepped into one particular room, something caught his attention. Through a small gap between the curtains, he noticed what looked like a pale, human-like face staring directly at him. It didn't move, it didn't blink, it just watched. The brief glimpse was enough to prove the house was not empty at all. But who was there? A ghost? A trapped soul? To this day, the mystery of what he saw remains unsolved. Subscribers pick. In the TV lounge of a house, children were watching television together when something unexplainable happened. One of the girls suddenly climbed up the wall like a spider and calmly sat there.